Good afternoon everybody, it's Denise here, Denise Junk Journals UK. Thank you so much for joining me, it's lovely to have you here. Today I'm going to be working on some of my stash to get some things moved along, and I've come across these collaged pieces of paper and they feel like, I'm pretty sure, that I have Mod Podged them on top because they've got like that feeling on them, so they're ready to go for covers really, which is what I think I'm going to do with them. So that one's quite thin, I might put a backing on that one. These are fairly thick. Do I want to back them? Oh. That's nice, it's got some splatters on it as well. I don't know. They'll make just nice soft journal covers, won't they? Or shall I put some... Could put two of them together, couldn't I? And I think that might be a bit too... Don't know, what do we think? Now I've got this, I have got here some... Well, it's an old photograph album that I've taken apart, so there's some card from that, so it's kind of like what we would call sugar paper when I was at school. Don't know if they still use that term. Let's put one on it and see what I think. So I'll glue one to it. So my idea is to trim them round, stitch them round, and then fill them with random pages, also attacking my stash. If you see what I mean. So yeah, it's going to fit on there quite nicely, isn't it? What shall I glue it with? That's the question. I've got a little bit of collal left, not a lot. Or shall I just glue stick? I think I might just glue stick it. It'll be less messy, won't it? And you know, I can get it more evenly dispersed, as it were. I want one of my great big books for gluing on. Don't know what I've got here. Let me just drag something out now. That's not big. Oh no, big-ish, but not big enough. But I can do it in two halves, can't I? So I'll glue the whole thing down and then trim round it and then stitch. Whoops. So yeah, I have done this on a nice piece of paper, unfortunately, because I was probably going to use it, you know, as it is, just cut it up. But I think they're going to make some nice journal covers, and I really need to get some of my book pages and digitals and things used up. They've been sitting here. I've got a fizzy nose. Okay, I managed to stop the camera, but that's one join already. I'm going to have several. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sticking it to that. Don't know what it is about the minute I start filming and talking. You know, I would say 6 times out of 10 I then sneeze. It's bizarre. Need to find out my roller again, don't I? Am I shaking the table? It wouldn't surprise me. It's quite a nice colour paper, that. I quite like that. I'll just give it a minute or two under here and do another one, I think. Have I got anything under here? I have. Ah. Let's cut that down while we've found it. I'm kind of in the mind frame now of, instead of making piles of things and leaving waiting for them to be done, trying to use things as I come across them. So I came across this, I think it was 2 days ago now actually, and yeah, it was just waiting to be backed. Well, now it has been backed. Upside down. That does not look very square to me. What's gone on there? Square it is not. Right. That edge is. So if that edge is square, I should be able to square up all the others from it in theory. Well, it's looking square like that now as well. I understand the pattern might be throwing it off, but when I put it on here, I can't see the top bit. Oh, it is. It's obviously the you know, the slanty way that I've put another sneeze. The slanty way that I've put the pieces of paper on. Right, however, this one hasn't been Mod Podged, so I think that one Mod Podging next. I can't do anything with it now. Okay, right, I was going to do one more, wasn't I? So let's get another piece of this brown paper and another big one of these. That one's a little bit thicker actually. Which one? That one. That one's not very thick. It's on book page, but it's not. Might as well just do it on there, hadn't I? Not hurting anything. Yeah, it's on. I've backed onto a piece of, you know, fly page from the book. Fly book. I'm sure there are fly books. Okay, I hope you're all well. I hope you're working on your stash or yeah, doing something that's fun. I really need to get ahead a little bit. I've had a crazy week and I'm way behind, but nothing new there for me, is I'm always behind. The only thing is, you know, Christmas is coming and Mum's coming to stay, and we've got things planned. Nothing too exciting, I was going to say, but I suppose they're exciting to us. You know, a work do for Neil's, you know, we're all going out together for a meal, and I think I told you I was going to see the Tree of Light ceremony at our local country hall, where yeah, it's like a memorandum for, you know, people who've passed. It's done by the what was it called? The hospice, there we go. That Dad was in, and if you want to, you can donate, which Mum does all the time, because they were absolutely amazing. And do you think we're dry? Do you think I can fold it? I don't think I will fold it yet. I might cut it with scissors and then stitch it. Yeah, so they have a ceremony in the hall. It's beautiful, and you have like a decoration with their name on the tree, and you're given a matching one to put on your tree at home, so that's going to be nice. And then there's another one called the Festival of Trees, which we're going to in the week, where it's a similar sort of thing, but it's in a local church, and it's for, you know, lots of different charities. So you have a tree, you decorate and put a tree in there if you're a charity, and people go and look around all the beautiful trees and donate and what have you. So where Neil works, they have a charity attached to that, where I say boys, but there are ladies there as well, but they're mostly boys Neil works with, so I say boys. What did I do with the other one there? I'm just going to cut it by hand, I think. Yeah, so they have a charity attached to that house, where yeah, the proceeds go to taking the boys on days out and things like that. The folks. I mean, the proper term is service users, but it's a bit formal, that, isn't it? So we call them the lads when we're talking about them at home, and we know there's one lady in Neil's flat. Okay. Yeah, so I've got things coming up, and I have to yeah, I need to get ahead a little bit with my my filming and sorting my craft room out for Mum and visitors, because of course everyone will want to come up and have a look. Now, are these the finished size I want them? That's the next question, because I want to put papers in them. I might want that one a little bit smaller. It has got white on the bottom, so I've just inked it and now I'm cutting it smaller. That's me all over. And yeah, smaller up there as well, that's better. I don't want them to be huge journals that, you know, I want to get rid of loose papers. How are we doing? Yeah, that's better. I think that one will be okay. Okay, so what else did I... Well, putting rubbish in the scraps box, that won't help it at all, will it? Right, some of these I can fold already because yeah, I'm not going to cover, so collaged papers do sometimes crack when you fold them, so let's see what's happening, see what size I'm going to get. Looks like it's going to be one of those tall, yeah, look, you see how they've cracked on the edge there, tall thin journals that everybody's making at the moment. I'm going to have to get my that happens when it falls on a creasy edge. It's a very edgy piece of paper. I'm going to have to get my mat out because that will not go through the guillotine. Oh, sorry. Cutting mat, that's what I meant. My quilting ruler, and have I got a knife there that I can see? Yeah, reach. Had it out. Had it downstairs with me. So we're going that way up. I'll sort that bit out in a minute. That might cut some of that off. So let's get that. I want to cut a nice straight edge here to start with, and then I can get a 45-degree angle going. Oops, did that move then? It felt like it did. That's straight. Yep. Now I can make it. Should we do the same on that edge? No, it's still too big to turn it that way. Brains. My nanny used to say brains if they're only sheep's. Have you heard that saying? If you're in the UK? Don't know where that came from. Just a memory flooded back. It's a bit of a overcast day again. Nothing new there here. Weather-wise, nothing new there here. That's more good English for you. And I'm just wondering now if I want that smaller. I cut it straight, but I could have just taken a little bit more off, couldn't I? Yeah, let's take another centimetre off it. Just looked a bit too tall. Am I square everywhere? Yeah, I think so. I know it's a long, slow process. There we go. Now I can. I do miss my great big mat, but I glue on it. I'm not good enough to put something down when I'm gluing. So yeah, I made a right mess of it. Now I could buy another one. They're not really expensive, but I do the same again. And then when you glue on it and it sticks, they get like bobbles. You know, when you're working on them, they're all bobbly underneath. Creates more trouble. Okay, so rather than just stick that down, I'm going to just scrub. Shouldn't be difficult, should it? Something out of my scrap box. A piece of that will do nicely. And just go over the top of that. It's just a piece of dictionary paper. At the bottom. Oh, Denise, that's not really enough, is it? I just love ripping paper. All these little scraps. Yeah, I definitely feel a cluster session, making session coming, but I'm going to glue on a piece of that as well. I'm going to sort my scrapbooks out. I might sit downstairs this afternoon when I'm resting my legs and put it all on a tray on my knee and have a bit of a sort through into sizes, because it's a bit of a holy mess. Right, I'm going to let that dry open. You can see there's a bit of a ridge there. a bit of a ridge there, but I'm going to go with it. Yeah, I might end up putting something. That does not look straight, does it? How did that happen like that? Far from it. What did I do there? Crikey. Do you remember when I said I think it moved a bit? It probably moved a lot by the looks of that. Let's put that on there. Don't want to make it too much slimmer. Pleased I spotted it now while the mat is still on my table. Okay, I've got my timer in front of me, but I didn't press start. How long have I been? 10 minutes. If I press it now, I mean, I will be stopping and starting. I need to go stitch these in a minute. It just gives me an idea how long I've been on once I've stopped and started. Right, I'm not supposed to be moving that. I've done it now. Done it now. Tough. Right, I'm going to ink it before I stitch it. I think if I just do those 3, I'll have more than enough to do for this video, and then finish them off when I've stopped filming, because at the moment it's taken a long time. We're back to uploading on YouTube taking forever for some reason, unless it's local to me. Right, fold that over. I've been making things with these ephemera. I'll show you later in the week. I'll show you. Okay, so there's that one, and where's the 2 that I've got done? Right, I'll leave those few. Right, are you dry enough to fold? Now I'm going to sew them actually first before I fold them. I know I folded that when I needed to cut it. Right, so what I'll do is I'll go stitch them and yeah, grab some papers and we will put them together as little journals. I won't be thick of a lamb's tail. Okay, microphone check. Resume timer. Check. Okay, so I've stitched them round. Yeah, I probably should have. I was lucky. Probably should have put them together and cut them, folded them so that I got them nice and square. But actually, considering I cut them by hand, yeah, I managed to get them square. That was just lucky. Okay, so I folded them over and then I've stuck some material just to stop that cracking for me to stitch through on the inside of that one. I've just put some, you can see it's still wet and drying on the inside of that one. I did them so they'd be drying, and I've got one here just to do with, yes, I'm going to put some, you know, it doesn't have to be a huge amount, it doesn't have to be cut straight, which it isn't. It just really needs to give it a bit of protection. So I'm putting it on with Fabri-Tac, and then while it's drying, I can gather some signature pages together. We don't have to check the sizes yet. And then when this is dry, I can sew them in. Yeah, so I didn't go over the stitching top and bottom. I made sure to stay inside that. I mean, you could. There's no reason why you couldn't. You could even go over the top edge there and have it showing. I just chose to keep it all inside and neat. I mean, they're going to be more journal books or notebooks rather than a journal full of a junk journal full of pockets and tucks and things. It might have a few embellishments, or they might have a few embellishments in them, but generally, yeah, I'm not going to fill them particularly. Shouldn't have folded that over. Let it dry flat. Okay, so we'll let those dry a bit while we choose some papers. So this is what I'm talking about. You know, getting some. I've just made a coffee. Let's make sure I don't spill it. Getting some pages out of. Oh, what's that? What is that? That's something part made by the looks of it. Well, would you believe that? It needs to be in the complete box. Right, this should be just full of pages, odd, random. There's a lot of coffee dyed, odd digitals, things like that. So I'm going to use some digitals. I'm going to use some of my coffee dyed pages, and I'm going to use some book pages as well, because I've got quite a lot of those going on, as you know. So I've got this full book pages, full care in it, it's that full. Just pop that down there. So I'm trying not to hit you. Let's just pull a selection of things out. So a couple of music papers. What else have we got in here? These digitals. Now I know the summary. I'm going to mix colours and themes and sizes and shapes. So 2 pages. That just feels like one. It's a shabby dabby doodah somewhere. I think my fingers are probably just not working. So 2 of those. Yeah. Don't know why I'm going in 2s because I've got 3 journals, but there you go. That's me all over. Ooh, they're chunky. What have we got in the bottom here? A couple of pages of that. Oh, I wonder if they'll fit. Let's have one of each of those. One of those in each. Okay, and what have I got here? Yep, just random. Okay, so I've pulled a few out of there. Now, like I say, I don't want too many pages in these because they're going to be notebooks rather than journals. So let's not go crazy, but what have I got in here that I can, whoops, I just have to do it under my nose, sorry, that I can use up. What's this? Oh yes, that's that lovely, let's use it. Nice. Stop hoarding things. My lovely recipe book. That's nearly gone. And shall we have a plant one? 1, 2, 3. Okay, that should more than be enough. Let's do them into 3s then. Okay, so these, I might trim them, I might not, don't know yet. So on each of those, on each of those, on each of those. Yeah, I've probably already got too much. 1, 2, 3. I only had 2 of those, didn't I? Quite thick though. Shall I put in music in the 3rd one then? And we'll go 1, 2, blue one in each. 1, 2, and a music in that one. I think I might just about be there. Yeah, I'm not going to put any more in. I mean, obviously I've got the other booklets to make up, so I'll use those in that. So let me just fold these over into parcels so I can just do one at a time. Did I leave half of you? Yeah, I think you were. Fold that big one over. I think it's drawing paper, that, or some such thing. Okay, I've got 2 there, and we'll work with this one. So let's find a journal, because I'm thinking rather than trim and create, use this one. It's not quite dry, but is there a way up? Yeah, that I think. That's not too bad then. So rather than, let's do a bit of measuring. I've started to film, haven't I? Yes. So this is going to have pages that need to be roughly 4 3/4 inches or 12 centimetres. Yeah, so instead of creating scraps, I'm going to make folds and things in the book, which again will thicken them up. So I've got that one that way. Now I've got a gauge. It's not very thick paper anyway. I think that one might be okay in half. Oops. 2. The white border's trimming off that. Are you going to fit? No, we need a lump off that. What did we do with the chopper? There it is. bit off, and then we'll be able to use, that's going to be a lovely scrap. Be something I'll be sorting. I might just put it in as a page rather than an envelope. Let's see if I can. Oops, nearly, but yeah. 3. Oh, I should have done that while I had it out, shouldn't I? Now I can probably take a chunk off that and use it as scrap. Yeah, collage. And then, oh, didn't realise that was so big there. Yeah, then this one won't be folded over a second time. Now, because the notebooks, you absolutely can leave the white, you know, edges on. It wouldn't affect it in the slightest. In fact, it might give it a bit more if it's a tall thin one. So yeah, I think I'll just go sideways with these, make a shorter piece, and yeah, I'm going to leave that ratty edge on there. What went wrong? I like that. What went wrong? I ought to have that on my craft room wall. What went wrong? Nothing. It was a happy accident, wasn't it? And yeah, I think I might trim that one. Because it's not a pretty cut, it's just a messy cut, in my opinion. Okay. How many pages did we get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, I think 7 is enough for a notebook. I like it. I do like an even number though. Shall I go for one more? Oh, should I have one of these really dark? Yeah. So it won't add a lot of anything. Oh. Now that just wants to crack. That needs to be stabilised on something. Have I got any other dark papers that are not going to do that? Is that the same one? No, it's not. I think that one will. Ooh. Look at that. Shall we leave that lovely? Yeah, let's leave it. Leave it on for fun. Okay, so I've got 8, did I say? Right, let's arrange them then. So what shall we have at the front? We have that pretty piece. Not folded it very well. Let me try that one again. That's it. It's quite a thin piece, that as well. And then that maybe. Music paper. Some blue. And an envelope. I've got all my book pages together. What went wrong? Although that's quite pretty. And it's different colour. I'll have these two kind of what's the word? Snuggled up together. Because I can't think of the word. Yeah, that's more than enough for, you know, just a thin notebook. What is tall there? Something is too tall. What music paper? What is that? Yeah, I didn't think about the height at all, did I? I think they're the only two. Okay, that's easily remedied. Take a smidge off the top of them. I do want them inside the... straighten the edge of that one as well now. In fact, let's take a bit off both ends. And then straighten the edge, and then we're square all round. In theory. Just fits in. Take off the bottom. That should be enough. Okay, let's put it back together again. Oh, outside. Yeah, I'm not going to ink the pages because that is a job I don't need. Yeah, so that blue one's too big as well. I'm wondering if... No, it's just the blue one. I'll just trim the blue one. I was going to say I wonder if to line them all up and then, you know, do them with the knife and the board, but let's just take a chunk off this. So do the same again, a bit off all sides. Make it square. If we're going for precision, I don't usually. Okay, where was it in there? I like that little pop of blue amongst all the, you know, those creamy caramel colours. Right, are we still too long? No, we're okay because it is just a notebook. It's not going to be filled, so that's not quite dry, but I am going to stitch it in because I've got everything in situ. It would be a shame. Need some big ones. It would be a shame to move it now, wouldn't it? Just get me stitching pouch out. And I'm thinking you could, I mean my machine is set up downstairs now so I won't, but it's thin enough just to run up there, you know, with a stitch of, a line of stitching on your machine. With 7 pages, I think my machine would just about, wouldn't take much more, but yeah, it would go with 7. Oh. Where I want you, I think so. So I'm going to need a book to punch into. Just the glue book, shall we? And what shall we go? Let's use this dark brown. I don't seem to choose that one very much. So, oh, is there only one needle in there? Oh no, they're all at the other end. You'll do though. You'll do. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I've been looking at more wax thread, you know, packets of them on Amazon. I don't want to buy any till I've, you know, got a lot of these used up. I am getting there, but yeah, I've seen some lovely like metallic. I mean, this one's a bit metallic actually, isn't it? But some lovely metallic colours I'd quite like to get a set of. One of these fine days. So I'm not going to measure or anything. I'm just going to go straight through. Through you go. And same up there. Oops, I normally leave that in, I've taken it out. But there's not too many pages to move around, so if you're new and you're just learning to sew in a signature, these are ideal because, you know, the less pages you've got moving around, the easier life is when you've got quite a few in there. It can sometimes be a struggle, a chore. Depends on the day for me. Often. Yep, so I didn't necessarily make those even. Right, going at a straight. I always go through at an angle and it's always a different angle because I'm trying to avoid that thread. But actually, oh, you don't want to go through, do you? There we go. All that does is make me miss the hole, so I don't win. Right. So the question is, have I gone through the thread? It's so hard to tell. No, I haven't. Because they would both move when I pulled them if I had. Okay, so that one under there, don't pull it too tight. Oh, we're not too tight. We need to be a little bit tighter than that. Hope you can see that's it. Yeah, and I'm going to put some fabric over the outside of that as well, just to preserve the spine a little bit. Fabric or paper, I don't know. Fabric, I think. Put those out of the way because they make a heck of a noise. And that. Okay, there's one then. How am I doing? Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, lots of fun to be had. You know, if you want to turn it into a journal, you can stick, that one's not very, stick bits and pieces in, or as a notebook I could stick paper, you know, on those pieces for notes. For now I'm just going to make them and leave them in stash, so I'm just wondering if those would be nice on the front. I don't know if it's too much. Oh, those scissors hurt to cut with, hurt my arthritic thumb. Yeah, it's much better than it was last week. I did an awful lot of fussy cutting while the decorators were in, the first day, and gosh, the day after my thumb was swollen and very sore, but I've been gentle with it and it's gone down a bit. I mean, I've still got the arthritis in it, but the flare-up's gone, I'm pleased to say. Yeah, and my heart goes out to anybody who's got it and it does, you know, it doesn't go down, and it affects it crafting, because it does very much. So yeah, I know, or I've had a little taste of what you go through, guys. There we go. Now, will I like it when I put it down? I mean, it's just a notebook, so yeah, I do something like that on it. Start glitter it, just finishes it off. You know, if you like the grungy ink in it also. So, have we got time to do another one? I think so. We can sew the signatures in anyway, can't we? Create signatures and sew them in. You can always, like I say regularly, you can watch me and fast forward if you don't want to see it, or not watch me at all. It would make me sad, but I would understand. Another set of papers then. Shall we do the little one? Let's do this little baby one. Where's my that? Yeah, I can see the lids off my glue. Oh, because yeah, I'm not going to need these papers as big, am I? I mean, that one would do in half, so let's do that. And see what we like. Oh, should have checked it. Just trim a bit off that one, and then I've got a gauge, haven't I, for size. Oops. Yeah, still quite a bit too big. I do like them to sit inside the it just feels like it's not cut in straight. Let's have a look. Not bad, must be my eyes. Oh, it even needs a bit more off. I could have folded that much over, couldn't I? Didn't look like it was that much too big. Okay, so I can go taller than that, but I don't have to do much wider than that. Where's the rest of my papers? Is this them? Did I throw them over there? Right, we don't want that one. So this one we can do as probably a 3. So that's going to make a nice fold out, isn't it? Or a side pocket, whichever we go with. Too tall. Nice scissors. Let's be kind to my hands today. It's not very easy cutting. No. I'll be right in a minute. I just knew if I'd cut that 3 fold, it wouldn't be straight or level or anything. That's better. It's a rustic piece as well. It's going to be a rustic book, this one. Just make sure it fits now. Yeah, so that's as big as think I'll do the same again and do a three piece, and then I'm not losing any of the beautiful vintage book paper. 1, 2, 3. I think I'll leave the envelope out of this one. Let's have some pretty papers in it then. What do we like for height? Way too high, so we could probably go that way. Yeah. Can see what I'm doing. Sorry, I'm moving closer and closer to myself on the edge of the table. So go that way, and then we could make some nice corner pockets out of that, couldn't we? Like this. Yes. Just glue that down. Oops. Could do without the blobs. Quite thin paper that, so that'll do it good to be folded over. Over there, another glue lid off. Right, haven't made you too thick, have I? Yep, a little bit. You can trim the edge a touch. So it's a narrow one, this one. Might as well square the top off while I'm at it. I won't square the bottom off or it'll open the pockets. Yeah, nice. Okay, I think I'll do the same with this one that way, but just trim it off. Right below that picture. You could go in a scrap box. Are you too wide? Yes. Yeah, that's probably been too long now, I don't know. What shall we have in the middle? That. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's have a pretty one in the middle then. Oh, that's nice. I think that's Nanine's journal page. It's not hers on the back, so okay, let's drop the white off that side, yes. Just a little bit too big. Which side shall we take off that one? It's a nice strip for my scraps. That's it, that's a nice centrepiece, isn't it? Let's have that pretty in the centre. There we go. See, on these, a little bit of paper goes a long way. So shall we go with, quite like him there. Page. And then, whoops, that I think. Then that, then that. Right, do I want anything plain on the outside? Do I want a piece of plain? Because I had this, didn't I, that I cut, oops, in half. Let's have this in again, the other half of it. It's a little bit thicker than the other one, but too big there. For me these would be lovely inked, but like I say, I'm not going to. Yeah, lovely. Okay, I'll stagger that a bit. I do like a bit of a stagger. It is the middle, but No, I'm going to put it more in the middle, just so that I catch it with my, oh dear, my alarm's going to go in 20 seconds, so let's see if I can pause it. There we go. See if we can get this one stitched in quickly before I leave you. I wonder if I can just go straight through with the needle instead of with the awl. It's not a very sharp needle though. I mean, you could just do a you know, if you haven't got many pages in these, you don't necessarily have to do the 3-hole. You could just do a 2-hole. Where else my book that I was punching into? Is that it? Yes. Okay, let's go for it. Don't mess it up though, Denise. In your haste. Yeah, I can definitely tell it's thicker actually than that other one, so yeah, perhaps not a good idea to do it without the awl and a blunt needle. I think I would have come unstuck. Yeah, so I'm just going to stick some material on the outside of these, or some lace, whichever happens to be lying about, just to make sure these strings stay put. Right. Straight through that one. Looks, I wasn't looking, but have I gone through that? Nope. Fab. So one either side, if you don't know, stops it pulling a hole, or it lessens the effect of it pulling a hole through your paper, because that string across the middle stops it. That's strong enough out there, yeah. And just a little bow for me. Of course, you could do it the other way and have the bow on the outside. Yeah, that's not bad. We've got 2 out of 3 done. Okay, so let me know what you think. Was there an upside down to that? Oh, luckily I did it the right way up. I didn't check though, so that was more luck than judgment. Bit long, that one, that's it. Yep, I'll probably put another label on the front of it, and I will do the others that I've got there. Yeah, that's sticking up, look, but a bit of fabric or lace there and we'll be sorted. Okay, thanks so much for spending that time with me. It's been lovely having you here, and yeah, hope I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now. Okay, I just thought I'd give you a quick flip through of them when they're finished. So I just put these on to hold them down because I've literally just done them. So that one's got the black lace on it. I think I showed you the inside of that one, but yeah, I'm going to put these on Etsy, so I'm going to put them in packs of 2, probably a big one and a small one, when I make the other 3 up. So they will be up sometime on the Monday, but it might be later on the Monday when they hit the Etsy shop. But I have only got these, well, there'll be 6, so there'll only be 3 packs if you're looking for them. So that one we've seen. They won't have this clip on them. I'll post them without because the metal creates havoc in the post. But you know, if you've got one, you could soon put it on. But I think once it's used, because it's only thin, it will soon flatten down. You know, if you fancy one of these to have a play with over Christmas, if you want to have a go at junk journaling and you're new to it, or you know, you just want to have a play, treat yourself to a little bit of something. Yeah, and it will get 6 pieces from my desk. So there'll be these 3, and then I've got 3 smaller ones, so each one of these will be in a pack, and there'll be a small one that goes with it. And yeah, there'll be free postage in the UK. I'm afraid I can't afford free postage to other parts, otherwise I would. If I had the postage in like Etsy tell you to, then obviously, you know, the people in the UK who it doesn't cost much to post are paying like the American and the Canadian postage. So yeah, so lots of scope for doing lots more to them. Just thought you'd like to see them done, and yeah, pop over to Etsy tonight if you fancy one. I'd love to get them moved on to a nice home. Okay, bye for now.